What's up everyone, welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of Wolfman, which comes from director Leigh Whannell, who previously gave us his take on another Universal classic monster with 2020's The Invisible Man. Christopher Abbott stars as Blake, a stay-at-home dad who takes his family to his childhood home in Oregon to clear out his father's things. But when they arrive, they encounter a mysterious creature in the woods. After Blake is attacked, he begins to transform into something terrifying. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos I post here on the channel.
And we were attacked. I think my husband was infected. Blake.
Wolfman is a solid horror movie. This isn't a remake of past Wolfman movies. Instead, it's more of a reimagining of this classic character. In this version, you get a story that tackles generational trauma and how someone, in this case Blake, tries to break that cycle now that he's a father. Also, instead of the typical curse storyline, the Wolfman condition is treated more like an infection that begins to take over. One of the strongest parts of the movie is how that transformation is shown. It's gradual and takes place over the course of the movie rather than all at once. And this approach to the transformation is cleverly done. Whannell uses a mix of camera angles, lighting, practical effects, and prosthetics to achieve this effect. So we get to see the transformation not only from Blake's external physical transformation, but also his internal one as well. We get to see how the world around him is changing, how his perspective changes, how his vision is distorted, how the smallest of sounds are now amplified. And that's another part of this movie that is really, really strong. The sound design is exceptional here. And so, when you're watching Blake undergo his transformation and the small sounds are amplified, that's just one example of how the sound design is used. There are other examples too where, this story is taking place in this very remote setting in the woods, and the sound is used to really create this atmosphere in which the story takes place very effectively. Also, the transformation that Blake undergoes provides some really gruesome moments of body horror. Wolfman is a horror movie, but it isn't particularly scary. However, it does a really great job of building the tension. You really feel the danger that these characters are in, that this family is facing. And you also have this looming sense of dread that carries throughout the movie. Part of that has to do with the setting. I already mentioned before that this is set in a very remote area, and it takes place mostly in this farmhouse. And so the characters are very isolated. They're surrounded by a place that they're not really familiar with. And there's also this home invasion vibe to the story. Thankfully, the movie doesn't go overboard with the jump scares. It only has a few here and there. And the ones that are used are very effective. You have some really good performances here, especially from Christopher Abbott, who is just this regular guy who's trying so hard not to be as terrifying as his father was to him, while also trying to not turn into a monster, like literally. Now, Garner is really good here as well, although her role is limited, but she does a great job of portraying a character who is out of her element, but who also has to think quickly under pressure just to survive. Now, where the movie falls short is the third act. There was so much buildup in this movie that ultimately didn't lead to a satisfying payoff. Just when the movie was starting to find its momentum, find its groove, it ends. There's also a part of the story involving Garner's character of Charlotte that's set up early on, but the movie doesn't do a good job of bringing that full circle. Whannell's version of The Invisible Man is excellent. I really enjoyed that movie. I also think it's a great example of how you can put a fresh spin on a dated story or a dated character. Unfortunately, The Wolfman doesn't quite reach those levels, but I still think it's a solid horror movie. There's a lot of interesting things at play here with this movie. Not all of it works, but most of it does. And it has a lot of good practical effects and special effects. It does a really great job with the transformation of the character, both figuratively and literally. And it is a different approach to this story. So if you're at all interested in a new take on the Wolfman, I think this one is worth checking out. So those are my thoughts on Wolfman. Do you plan on seeing it in theaters? Let me know in the comments. While you're here, like and subscribe and stick around for more videos like this.